The historical drama series The Crown has been given the opportunity to come to a proper finale, unlike Netflix's drama shows, which rarely allow their natural finish without a hasty termination. The ambitious biographical show has chronicled the ups and downs of the British royal family for most of the 20th century. However, the events that The Crown has been chronicling are not quite as compelling as the royal family's present undertakings. The fifth season of The Crown introduced the royal family to situations that some viewers would recall from their own lives. So the sixth and final season of the show undoubtedly has a lot of meaty material to work with. The family was presented with a dilemma in Season 5 of The Crown that they had never had to respond to before. Are they still relevant in a society that seems to be discarding tradition? Focuses on the events that formed the second half of the 20th century, as well as the political conflicts and romance of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. The Crown's ambitious story structure allowed it to capture a more complete, and considerably longer, history of the royal family's rule than previous series, movies, and documentaries about them. The first two seasons of the show took place between 1947 and 1964, and Claire Foy and Matt Smith played Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, respectively. For the third and fourth seasons, which focused on events from 1964 to 1990, the central pair was replaced with Olivia Colman and Tobias Menzies. During these seasons, Josh O'Connor played a youthful Prince Charles, who rejected Camilla Parker Bowles, Emerald Fennell, as his intended wife in favor of marrying Princess Diana, Emma Corrin, who was considerably younger. An elderly Charles, Dominic West, whose marriage to Diana, Elizabeth Debicki, has entirely collapsed, is where the fifth season begins. Due to their dissatisfaction with the nature of their jobs, the pair is always at odds with one another. Diana believes that raising her children in the public eye is not the right way to raise them, and that she does not conform to the traditions set out by Prince Philip, Jonathan Pryce, and Queen Elizabeth II, Imelda Staunton. Charles is still incredibly in love with Camilla, Olivia Williams, and he feels that he should be contributing to the country's modernization in order for him to succeed as king. He also believes that he is being denied the happy marriage that he genuinely wants. Despite Charles and Diana's dissatisfaction, their official separation has been blocked by the royal family's stringent marriage regulations. The press often targets Charles and Diana's marriage, embellishing every aspect of their union, making it extremely harder for the couple to communicate rationally with one another. When embarrassing private phone conversations revealing specifics of Charles and Camilla's relationship are unearthed by the press in 1993, things go out of control. Charles is publicly humiliated, and the public becomes even more enamored with Diana. In 1995, Diana conducted a highly contentious live television interview with journalist Martin Bosher. When Diana talks about her problems with the royal family, Charles is motivated to pursue an official divorce the next year. Diana may also have a new romantic interest in Season 5, which tells the story of how Mohammed Al Fayed and his son Dodi, Khalid Abdallah, rose from poverty in Egypt to prominence as English merchants. Diana initially meets Mohammed at the Royal Windsor Horse Show, where she also befriends Dodi. Mohammed extends an invitation to Diana to join him in St. Tropez for a summer vacation, as the season comes to a close. This portends Diana's eventual love engagement with Dodi, with whom she was involved at the time of Diana's death in 1997. Charles argues with his mother primarily about the shortcomings in their marriage, but he also starts to think that she might not be qualified to be the nation's leader. The public no longer seems to share Queen Elizabeth II's appreciation of tradition. Ordinary people no longer seem to place the same value on the throne. In an attempt to plant the seeds for the Queen's abdication, Charles starts plotting with John Major, Johnny Lee Miller, the new Prime Minister. Despite Major's defeat in the 1997 election to Tony Blair, Bertie Carvel, Charles travels to China to address the country's new leader on Hong Kong's transfer. Britannia, the family's own yacht, is officially being decommissioned, which is one of the main events of his conference. Decommissioning the Britannia is another indication to the Queen that her influence is waning. A fire at Windsor Castle earlier in the season devastated 115 rooms and set ablaze numerous rare art pieces and antiquities that had belonged to the family for many generations. As Elizabeth spends one last moment by herself aboard the yacht, she remarks that she feels as though she is being decommissioned herself. But even with Charles starting to plot against her, the Queen isn't ready to give up completely. Charles met with Blair before Elizabeth did, which infuriates her. She also reminds him that he is not yet her successor. They are still arguing over Charles' relationship with Camilla, the woman he intends to marry. The Prime Minister and the British people seem to be in favor of Charles' happiness, but the Queen won't sign off. The meeting between Charles and Blair in 1997 will be the starting point for the 6th season of The Crown, which will run through 2005, the year Charles and Camilla were legally married. The death of Queen Elizabeth II in real life undoubtedly clouds the events of the next season, but it doesn't seem like The Crown will discuss any of the royal family's recent endeavors. Unique series, The Crown has done a fantastic job of giving historically significant figures, who frequently feel impersonal, a human face. The Crown tries to understand the royal family's motivations, even though it doesn't always present them in a favorable light.